For your whole life, a program has been running inside you. A program you did not choose, a program made to keep you broke, tired, and obedient. You walk through the world thinking these thoughts are yours, thinking these fears are yours, thinking this limitation is your destiny. But I am here to tell you that none of it is yours. It is a script, it is a code, and once you see the code, you can delete it. Today, I will show it to you. What I will give you today is not money advice, it is freedom. I will show you how society made you afraid of money and how to end that fear forever. I will show you the lies you were taught as a child and the truth hiding behind them. We will discuss why you chase money but never feel safe with it, why you work until your bones ache but still feel empty. And when you understand this, you will stop begging life for wealth. You will become wealth. This is not about getting rich in the way the greedy understand it. This is about waking up. You were taught to work hard, but never taught how money really works. You were taught that saving is safe even when the system steals from you. You were taught that wanting more is bad, but being poor is somehow holy. And you carried all of this like a heavy stone inside your chest. But none of it is true. The world trained you to fear money the same way it trained you to fear your own power. Because a human being who understands money becomes free, and a free human being cannot be controlled. This is why this message matters, because today you stop living as a program and start living as a person. Listen closely and listen with your heart, not just your ears. If what I say resonates with the truth sleeping inside you, I invite you to click the subscribe button, not to join a crowd, but to join a consciousness, to signal to yourself that you are ready to hear the things society has hidden from you. When you wake up from a long dream, there is always a strange moment where the dream still clings to you, where you are not fully sure if what you believed a moment ago was real or only a shadow. And this is exactly where you are right now. Coming out of the dream society put in your mind about money, about work, about worth. And before we can go anywhere deeper, before we speak of wealth or energy or abundance, we must begin right here with the uncomfortable truth almost no one notices. You were never meant to succeed in this system, not truly, not freely, and certainly not fully. You were meant to stay small. You were meant to stay predictable. You were meant to stay manageable. And understanding this is like turning on a light in a dark room. Suddenly, the furniture of your beliefs begins to reveal its true shape. Here is something most people completely miss. Your entire upbringing was shaped not to make you powerful, but to make you useful. Useful to an economy, useful to a machine, useful to the routines of a society that needs obedient workers, not awake individuals. You were taught to memorize, not to understand. You were taught to follow, not to question. You were taught to sit still, not to explore. And you were taught from the very beginning that money is something you must chase from outside, not something that arises from inside. The world did not accidentally forget to teach you wealth. The world avoided it on purpose, because a free human being, a wealthy human being, a human being who understands how life works is very hard to control. Let me take you back for a moment. Think of school. Think of the endless rows of desks, the ringing bells, the forced silence, the fear of punishment, the reward for obedience. Does any of this teach you how to create wealth? Does it teach you how to think freely, how to trust your intuition, how to take risks, how to understand energy, value, creativity, or opportunity? No, it teaches you how to trade time for approval. It teaches you how to wait for permission. It teaches you how to compete instead of create. It teaches you how to follow the line drawn for you. And this is no accident. Schools were not built to create free spirits. They were built to create consistent, compliant workers for industries that needed hands, not minds. Imagine a gardener trimming the roots of a plant so it never grows too big. Not because the plant is dangerous, but because the gardener wants control. When the roots stay small, the plant stays small. When the plant stays small, it never outgrows the pot. And when it never outgrows the pot, it can be moved, shaped, used. This is what society did to you. It trimmed your financial roots. It gave you just enough knowledge to survive, but never enough to thrive. It taught you how to work, but never how to understand work. It taught you how to earn, but not how to create. It taught you to stay humble, not expansive. It trained you to stay inside the pot, never questioning who placed you there. Now you might say, but Osho, they told me to work hard. Isn't that enough? No. Hard work is not wealth. Hard work is often the slowest path to it. Hard work without awareness becomes slavery. Hard work without clarity becomes exhaustion. Hard work inside a broken system becomes nothing more than maintenance of the system. And this is the point. They didn't want you to understand money. They wanted you to obey it. They wanted you to chase it like a carrot tied to a stick, always close, never reached. Because a chasing human being never questions why the carrot is always just out of reach. If these words are striking a chord in your soul, if you feel the chains of this conditioning loosening even a little, express that energy, like this video, share it with someone who is also struggling in the dark. Let this be a movement of awakening. I remember in my own childhood watching people proudly tell their children, study hard, get a job, earn a salary. But no one ever said, learn who you are. Learn how to think, learn how to trust your being, learn how to create value. They praised the child who followed the rules, not the child who questioned them. They rewarded the quiet one, not the curious one. They supported the obedient one, not the imaginative one. And in doing so, they unknowingly passed on the very program that kept them small, not out of cruelty, but out of conditioning. They were trained to do it. This is why this section matters deeply, because if you do not see the system that shaped you, you will blame yourself for the behaviors it created. You will think your struggle is personal. You will think your failure is individual. You will think your fear is your own. But none of this was yours. It was given to you, installed in you, trained into you, like a quiet program running in the background, shaping every choice you make without you ever questioning it. And now we move to the next layer of this truth, where the program went even deeper, where money became tied not just to work, but to fear. Because it wasn't enough for society to keep you obedient on the outside. They had to shape you on the inside too. So let us walk into the next part together, where the fear script begins. As we move deeper, I want you to slow down with me. Breathe, because what comes next is tender and it lives very close to your heart. After society built the walls around you, it did something even more subtle. It walked into your childhood and placed a seed of fear inside you. A fear so quiet, so familiar, so woven into your early memories that you stopped noticing it long ago. but it still lives in you. It still shapes your choices. It still whispers to you when you think of money or taking risks or stepping into something larger than the life you were handed. Until you see this fear clearly, money will always feel like a threat instead of a tool. Here is something most people never understand. Your beliefs about money were not formed by your mind. They were formed by your childhood nervous system. They were formed when you were soft, open, porous, absorbing everything without question. Your parents' stress, their silence, their arguments, their fears, the way they spoke about bills, the way they tightened their faces when money was mentioned, you absorbed it all. You had no idea what money was, yet you learned to fear it long before you could speak its name. And that fear became the script that still runs your life. Imagine a small child reaching for something beautiful, something shining, something calling their curiosity, and suddenly a voice snaps, "No, don't touch that. You'll break it, you'll get hurt, you don't know what you're doing." The child does not understand the object. They understand the tone, they understand the energy, the tension, and their body learns a terrible lesson. Reach equals danger, curiosity equals punishment, expansion equals pain. That same pattern was installed in you around money. Maybe no one said it directly. Maybe it was the way your parents sighed when bills came. Maybe it was the late-night whispers about debt that floated through the thin walls. Maybe it was the warning, money doesn't grow on trees, people like us don't get rich, be grateful you even have a job. Each statement was another thread in the web around your mind, and slowly, without anyone meaning harm, a bird was taught to fear the sky. You learned that wanting more is risky. You learned that asking big questions is arrogant. You learned that dreaming is dangerous. You learned that failure is shame. You learned that money comes with fear, guilt, tension, silence, conflict. So even now, as an adult, the moment you try to expand, something inside you contracts. You hesitate, you freeze, you sabotage, not because you are weak, but because your conditioned mind believes it is protecting you. This fear does not speak with words, it speaks through the body. It is the tightening in your chest when you think of investing in yourself. It is the hesitation before asking for what you are worth. It is the guilt that rises when you desire more. It is the voice that says, "Who do you think you are?" And this voice is not your truth. It is an echo from childhood. It is someone else's fear living inside your life. The tragedy is that people carry this whisper until their last breath, never realizing it wasn't theirs to begin with. If you are ready to silence this whisper and find your own voice, I invite you to join our inner circle. Click the join button below. It is a space for those who are committed to this deprogramming, a community of souls walking out of the cage together. Imagine a young eagle being raised by chickens. Every time the eagle spreads its wings, the chickens panic. They scold, they warn, they say, "Don't do that, it's dangerous, stay on the ground like us." And the eagle, wanting to belong, wanting to be loved, folds its wings and walks. Not because it cannot fly, but because it was taught to fear its own nature. This is what childhood fear does. It turns wings into weights. But here is the beauty of awareness. Once you see the fear script, it begins to crumble. Awareness is like bringing a candle into a dark room. You don't fight the darkness. You don't argue with it. You don't resist it. You simply see it, and the seeing is enough. You begin to notice when the old voice speaks. You begin to recognize the difference between your true self and your conditioning. You begin to understand that fear was never a guardian, it was a cage. And now that we have touched this soft, vulnerable truth, we move into the next layer where society not only trained you to fear money, but praised you for staying small, praised you for struggling, praised you for suffering. This is the part where the cage became a virtue and poverty became a badge of honor. Society not only gave you fear around money, it also gave you praise for staying small. It turned poverty thinking into a kind of virtue, a badge of humility, a moral achievement. And this is perhaps the most dangerous part of the entire program. Because once a cage becomes a virtue, you no longer try to leave it, you decorate it, you defend it, you teach others to stay inside it with you. Let us sit with this truth for a moment. The world praises struggle. It praises sacrifice. It praises the man who works himself to the bone and still has nothing to show for it. It calls him hard-working, honest, humble. But the man who steps out of the struggle, who chooses freedom, who chooses time, who chooses abundance, that man is whispered about, judged, called selfish or lucky or corrupt. The world does not celebrate liberation, it celebrates endurance. And when you live inside this kind of society long enough, you begin to believe that suffering is noble and wealth is suspicious. I want you to feel how deep this runs. You were told beautiful lies. Money doesn't matter. Rich people are greedy. Wanting more is wrong. Good people are poor. These lies were not meant to harm you. Your parents repeated them because their parents repeated them, but each lie carried a poison. Because the moment you believe money is dirty, you will avoid it. The moment you believe wanting more is wrong, you will shrink your dreams. The moment you believe richness equals selfishness, you will sabotage any abundance that tries to enter your life, and you won't even know why. Imagine a monk sitting in a temple full of food, yet praising another monk who starves himself. The starving monk becomes a symbol of virtue. The abundance around him becomes invisible. This is how poverty thinking works. You ignore the feast that life offers and glorify the hunger. You believe that wanting more violates some unwritten rule of morality. You think suffering makes you pure, but suffering does not make you pure. It only makes you small. And society reinforces this at every turn. They praise you for being grateful for crumbs. They call you humble when you accept less than you deserve. They reward you for compliance, not courage. They celebrate the person who quietly struggles, not the person who bravely expands. And slowly you learn to hide your desires, to shrink your vision, to limit your worth, not because you lack potential, but because you fear judgment. You fear standing out. You fear stepping beyond what your family, your community, your culture told you was acceptable. Imagine a group of crabs in a bucket. When one crab tries to climb out, the others pull it back down, not because they hate it, but because they fear what they themselves have never known. This is poverty thinking. It keeps everyone in the bucket even when the ocean of abundance is only inches away. But here is where the light begins to break through. Once you see that society rewards your smallness, you can stop seeking its approval. You can stop trying to be the good poor person. You can stop wearing struggle like a crown. You can stop shrinking so others feel comfortable. Your life is not meant to be a tribute to the smallness of others. Your life is meant to be a celebration of your own expansion. And as you release the praise for poverty, something powerful begins to happen inside you. You start questioning the entire story. You start asking the forbidden question, what if I am allowed to have more? And once that question whispers in your mind, the old program begins to crumble. Now that we have seen how society trained you to stay small and even praised you for it, we can move to the deeper revelation that money itself is not what you thought it was. The truth about money is far more radical, far more freeing, and far more dangerous to the system that shaped you. As we step out of the shadows of that old conditioning, something beautiful begins to happen. Your eyes open a little more, your breath deepens, and the old beliefs loosen their grip. And now we can walk into the truth that society never wanted you to understand, because the moment you understand it, you stop being controlled. Here is that truth, simple and quiet. Money is not your master. Money is your mirror. It shows you without judgment the state of your inner world. It reflects your fears, your beliefs, your confidence, your clarity, your confusion. Money doesn't lead you, it follows you. Money does not create your reality. Your reality creates money. Let me show you something most people never see. They think money is power. They think money is control. They think money is the goal. But money is none of those things. Money is a reflection of your inner state. When there is scarcity within you, money becomes scarce around you. When there is fear within you, money becomes something to fear. When there is guilt within you, money slips away like water through open fingers. But when there is clarity inside you, money flows. When there is confidence inside you, money gathers. When there is spaciousness inside you, money arrives gently, naturally, without force. Out. Money mirrors your inner world, nothing more. Imagine standing in front of a mirror. If you frown, the mirror frowns. If you smile, the mirror smiles. You cannot shout at the mirror to change its expression. You must change your own. This is how money works. People shout at money, they chase money, they resent money, they fear money. They treat money like a punishing god. But money is simply showing them the face they are bringing to it. If your inner world is full of noise, money will reflect that noise. If your inner world is full of doubt, money will mirror that doubt. If your inner world is full of silence and confidence, money will reflect that too. And this is why so many people work all their lives and stay poor. They try to fix the mirror instead of themselves. They try to polish the reflection instead of cleaning the mind that creates it. They try to earn more without understanding who is doing the earning. They blame the world for the condition of their own inner state. If this understanding is shifting something in you, consider supporting the channel with a super thanks. It is a way to honor the value you are receiving, to participate in the flow of giving and receiving, which is the very nature of abundance. Let me take you into a small story. A man stands by a river and complains that the water is dirty. Every day he washes his hands, and every day the river's reflection shows the same mud on his face. He tries to clean the river. He yells at the river. He blames the river for what he sees, but the river is innocent. The mud is on him. This is the human being who tries to fix money without fixing the self. Money is not the problem. The inner mud is the problem. When you understand this, something soft and powerful happens. You stop fighting money. You stop fearing it. You stop chasing it. You stop blaming it. And a strange peace enters your life, because suddenly money becomes simple. Money becomes neutral. Money becomes a mirror you can work with instead of a monster you must run from. And this is where the transformation begins. You start asking new questions. what is money reflecting in me? What beliefs is it showing me? What fears is it revealing? What insecurities is it mirroring? And when you ask these questions with honesty, the answers begin to rise from within you like small flames in a dark room. You start to see that money is only ever showing you the parts of yourself you have not yet understood. This understanding is the foundation of everything that comes next, because once you see money as a mirror, you stop trying to control it, and instead you start to understand yourself. And understanding yourself is the doorway to every form of abundance. Now that you know money mirrors your inner world, we must go deeper, because if money is a reflection of your state, then the energy you bring to it, the emotional climate inside you, shapes everything. This is the next layer of truth, and it will change the way you move through life. Something shifts inside you, almost like a door opening quietly in a room you've lived in your whole life but never explored. And through that door, you begin to sense a deeper truth, one that is not taught in schools, not spoken in homes, not understood by those who chase money their whole lives without ever touching real abundance. The truth is simple yet so powerful that when you feel it, your relationship with money transforms completely. Money responds to your energy before it responds to your actions. Not the energy of effort, not the energy of hustle, not the energy of desperation, but the inner energy, the emotional climate inside your being. Because money is not moved by struggle, money is moved by state. If your energy is full of fear, money feels like a threat. If your energy is full of guilt, money feels heavy, dangerous, unclean. If your energy is full of shame, money becomes something you avoid without knowing why. If your energy is full of doubt, money slips away. Fear contracts you, guilt closes you, shame lowers your inner worth. Doubt makes you invisible, and when you carry these states, even without realizing it, money senses the contraction and stays away. But the opposite is true as well. When you are calm inside, money flows more easily. When you feel deserving, money approaches. When you trust yourself, opportunities open. When you relax, wisdom appears. Wisdom that leads you to the right people, the right ideas, the right moments. The world reflects your energy the same way a river reflects the sky. Sky, clear water. Turbulent sky, turbulent reflection. Money is simply one more surface reflecting you. Imagine water flowing around rocks. It doesn't force itself. It doesn't push. It simply moves where there is space. Money behaves the same way. It flows toward people who create inner space. Space for receiving, space for clarity, space for opportunity. But if your inner world is full of tension, if your mind is crowded with fear, if your heart is tight with guilt, there is no space for money to stay. It might come for a moment, but it cannot remain. Think about times in your life when you were anxious. Every decision felt heavy, every problem felt bigger, every opportunity felt unreachable. And even if something good entered your life, you could not hold it. But think about the moments when you felt relaxed, even for a few breaths. Suddenly ideas appeared, solutions made sense, life felt supportive. This is not magic. It is the natural intelligence of existence. Relaxation reveals reality. Fear hides it. And here is something even deeper. Most people don't realize they are emotionally addicted to struggle. They don't feel safe with ease. They don't feel comfortable with abundance. They don't feel stable with receiving. The nervous system learned early that fear is normal and calm is the unknown, so calm feels dangerous, ease feels suspicious, wealth feels like a threat. Imagine someone who has spent their whole life in darkness. When you turn on a light, their first reaction is not joy, it is discomfort. They squint, they hesitate, they want to turn it off. This is how people react to abundance when their inner world has been trained for scarcity. It is not that people don't want wealth, they simply don't feel safe with it. And until your inner energy shifts, no amount of effort can break through that barrier. You will sabotage, you will retreat, you will delay, not because you are weak, but because your inner world believes it is protecting you. But the good news is this: the moment you begin to notice your energy, you take the first step toward changing it. Awareness is the turning point. When you feel fear rising, you pause and see it. When guilt speaks, you listen without obeying. When shame whispers, you recognize the voice as old conditioning. Slowly, gently, your energy expands. It becomes calmer, it becomes clearer, it becomes safe. And as it becomes safe inside, wealth feels safe outside. This is the shift that moves mountains without force. Not a change in effort, but a change in being, a change in the emotional climate of your inner sky. Because the moment your inner weather changes, the outer world reorganizes around it. Now that you understand how energy shapes money, we are standing on the precipice of one of the most painful illusions of all, the belief that hard work is the path to wealth. This belief has broken more backs and spirits than any other lie, and what I am about to tell you next will dismantle it piece by piece. Now that your eyes have begun to open to the energy behind money, we can walk into one of the greatest illusions society ever taught you. An illusion so deeply woven into the world that most people never question it, never doubt it, never even pause long enough to feel how strange it truly is. You were taught that hard work creates wealth. You were told that effort equals success. You were trained to believe that the more hours you give, the more money life will return to you. But this has never been true. Not once, not in any country, not in any century, not in any system. And the moment you see this, the moment you feel it in your bones, the chains around your financial life begin to fall away. Let us begin right here looking at the raw reality. If hard work created wealth, the hardest workers would be the richest people on earth. And look around you. Are they? The miners, the cleaners, the laborers, the night shift workers, the people breaking their backs in the fields under the hot sun. They sweat more than anyone, they bleed more than anyone, yet they are the ones who struggle most. If effort created abundance, mothers working 3 jobs would be millionaires. If hours created wealth, the exhausted would be the elite. But the world you see every day shows you something different. The people who work hardest often have the least, and the people who seem to work the least, who move with grace, who make decisions calmly, who spend time thinking and creating, often have the most. So what is really happening? Here is the truth you were never taught in those classrooms that trained you for obedience. Work is not the source of wealth. Awareness is, insight is, clarity is, value is. The mind creates wealth, not the muscles. Wealth comes from understanding how money moves, not from chasing it until your lungs give out. Wealth comes from alignment, not from exhaustion. Hard work without awareness becomes a treadmill, movement without progress. It is running fast to stay in the exact same place. Hard work without clarity is like digging a hole with a spoon when a shovel sits right behind you. Hard work without understanding is the slowest, most painful path to abundance. But society glorified it. Why? Because it keeps you tired, and tired people do not question the system. I want you to feel this in your body, in the ache of your shoulders where you carry the weight of this lie. Money does not respond to your hours, it responds to your alignment. It responds to the value you create, the clarity you embody, the energy you carry. And clarity does not come from exhaustion, it comes from presence. It comes from silence. It comes from understanding your own nature. Let me offer you an image to break this spell. Imagine a man digging a deep hole using a tiny spoon. He is sweating, breathless, exhausted, yet proud of his effort. He thinks his suffering proves his worth. And then imagine another man who simply turns around, sees a shovel leaning against a tree, picks it up, and does in 1 hour what the spoon man does in 1 week. The first man works harder, the second man works smarter. But what society taught you is to admire the exhausted man, not the aware one, to praise struggle, not intelligence, to reward effort, not insight. And so generations grew up thinking pain is the price of money. But pain is not the price of money. Pain is the price of ignoring your own awareness. The system wanted you tired. A tired person doesn't dream. A tired person doesn't create. A tired person doesn't listen to their intuition. A tired person doesn't rebel. A tired person obeys. And society trained you to believe that exhaustion is honorable. So you would never notice that wealth does not come from work. It comes from understanding who you are and how life moves through you. Think about your own life. Think about the times when you worked the hardest, when you pushed yourself to the brink of collapse. Were those the moments when you felt abundant? Or were those the moments when you felt depleted, resentful, empty? And now think about the times when you were clear, calm, aligned, when you were playful. Suddenly opportunities found you, ideas flowed through you. You made decisions with ease. Wealth grows from those states, not from the frantic grabbing the world taught you to worship. Once this truth becomes clear, even a little, something inside you begins to soften. The pressure melts, the guilt dissolves, the anxiety around not doing enough evaporates like mist in sunlight, because you begin to understand that your value is not measured by sweat. Your worth is not measured by hours. Your success is not measured by effort. You begin to understand that money responds not to force, but to flow. If you are feeling the weight of this hard work lie lifting off your shoulders, if you are ready to put down the spoon and pick up the shovel of awareness, consider deepening this understanding with our exclusive ebooks. They are designed to guide you further into these truths, beyond what a single video can hold. Check the description to find these tools for your journey. Now that this illusion has been broken, now that you've seen that effort without awareness is a trap, we can walk into an even deeper layer of this story. We must confront the emotional addiction to struggle. Because even when people learn intellectually that work does not create wealth, they still cling to struggle like a warm blanket. Not because it's comfortable, but because it's familiar. And now we must walk into that truth gently but honestly. We peel back the illusion of hard work to find something living underneath it, something so invisible that even the most intelligent minds fail to notice it. It is not logical, it is not rational, it is not something you decided with your conscious mind. It is something you inherited, absorbed, breathed in like the air of your early life. And it is this: most people are emotionally addicted to struggle. They do not love it, but they cling to it. They do not enjoy it, but they return to it again and again. They do not choose it, but it feels like home. And until you understand this addiction, you cannot understand why wealth feels so far away. You see, the mind does not seek what feels good. The mind seeks what feels familiar. A child who grows up in chaos becomes an adult who feels uncomfortable with peace. A child who grows up in scarcity becomes an adult who panics in the presence of abundance. A child who grows up in fear becomes an adult who distrusts ease. This is not weakness, this is conditioning, this is survival intelligence. The mind builds its identity from repetition, not truth. And if struggle was repeated around you, spoken, lived, breathed, normalized, then struggle becomes the emotional home of your nervous system. Let me take you inside this more deeply. Think about the people you grew up with. Think about the way they talked about life. Life is hard. Nothing comes easy. You have to fight for every inch. People like us don't get ahead. These are not just sentences. These are emotional codes. These are signals your body absorbed and stored. So even now, when an opportunity appears, something inside you doubts it. When life becomes easy, something inside you feels uneasy. When abundance knocks, something inside you closes the door. Not because you don't want abundance, but because your nervous system only trusts what it knows, and it knows struggle. Imagine a prisoner released after many years. The world outside is open, free, spacious, but his legs tremble. His eyes fear the sky. His body longs for the walls that once confined him. The cell was his safety, not his prison. Freedom feels like danger. This is exactly how the human psyche behaves around abundance. When you have been trained for scarcity, abundance feels unsafe. And the moment something feels unsafe, the mind will sabotage it. Not to harm you, but to protect you. This is why people lose money immediately after making it. This is why people push away opportunities that could transform their lives. This is why people stay in jobs that kill their spirit. This is why people fear success as much as they fear failure. They are not lazy. They are not broken. They are not unworthy. They are simply loyal to the emotional home they were raised in. Let me give you a softer image. Imagine a monk who has lived in poverty his entire life. One day, a kind stranger offers him a feast. The monk sits before the food, warm, vibrant, abundant, and he cannot eat. His stomach tightens. His mind resists. His hands tremble. Not because the food is bad, but because it is unfamiliar. His body trusts hunger more than nourishment. This is how most people meet abundance. Their minds see it as a threat to the identity they have carried for decades. But here is the turning point. Awareness dissolves addiction. When you begin to see your attachment to struggle, not judge it, not fight it, not shame it, but simply see it, it loosens. Awareness is like sunlight entering a room that has been dark for generations. Dust dances, shadows soften, and for the first time you can see the bars of the cage not as walls, but as illusions. You begin to notice the moments when you make choices from fear. You begin to recognize when you avoid ease because your body doesn't trust it. You begin to understand that the addiction to struggle is not your nature, it is your conditioning. And once this realization settles, something beautiful happens. A new part of you begins to breathe, a part that remembers a time before struggle, a part that knows ease, a part that feels aligned with abundance, a part that is not afraid of receiving. This part has been waiting for you. It has been waiting for you to stop fighting the ghosts of your past. To support this new part of you, this part that wants to breathe and expand, I invite you to click the join button. By becoming a member, you surround yourself with an energy that supports, ease, not struggle. You step out of the collective addiction and into a circle of awareness. Now that we've seen the emotional addiction to struggle, we are ready for the next revelation. The understanding that money responds to your inner world, not just mentally or emotionally, but physically. Your nervous system itself must feel safe with wealth, and when it doesn't, nothing outside can change. Let us step into that next truth with open hearts and open eyes. Now that we've opened the door to the emotional addiction to struggle, you are finally ready to look at something even more subtle, even more intimate. Something that lives like a ghost inside your mind, unseen, unheard, yet shaping every step you take. These are your hidden beliefs, not the beliefs you speak, not the beliefs you think you have, but the beliefs that live below language, below logic, below memory. The beliefs installed in you before you knew how to protect yourself. Until these hidden beliefs rise into the light of awareness, no wealth, no abundance, no change in circumstance can truly enter your life, because you are trying to build a new life on top of an old script. It is like trying to build a palace on quicksand. The foundation will not hold. Let me slow everything down now, because this part is the beginning of true transformation. A belief is not just a thought. A belief is a pattern of energy, a lens, a filter that colors how you see yourself and the world. And the tragedy is that most people live their entire lives guided by beliefs that were never theirs to begin with. Beliefs they absorbed when they were too young to resist. Beliefs that were whispered to them, shouted at them, demonstrated in front of them, repeated until they soaked into their bones. You may think you choose your choices. You may think you guide your life, but in truth, most of your choices are guided by your deepest beliefs. Beliefs you didn't even know you had. Let me give you an example. If deep inside you carry the belief, I don't deserve more, you will sabotage every opportunity that tries to enter your life. You will arrive late. You will say the wrong thing. You will forget the deadline. You will think it is an accident. It is not an accident. It is the belief protecting its territory. If inside you carry money is dangerous, you will unconsciously avoid financial growth. You will pick partners who spend it all. You will give it away foolishly. You will lose it. If inside you carry people like me stay small, you will shrink at the threshold of success. And you will not know why you are doing it, because the belief lives below your thinking mind, like a puppeteer hidden behind a curtain, controlling the strings without ever appearing on the stage. This is why awareness is the beginning of freedom. Awareness is the moment you see the string. Awareness is the moment you catch the belief in action. Awareness is the moment you stop being a puppet and become a person. Imagine walking through your life with a heavy chain around your ankle, but the chain is invisible. You only feel the weight, the resistance, the exhaustion. You think this heaviness is normal. You think this heaviness is life. You think this heaviness is just the way things are, but then one day you catch a glimpse of the chain, just a glimpse. And suddenly everything makes sense. You understand why the path has felt so hard. You understand why you couldn't move freely. You understand that the limitation was never in the world, it was in the pattern hidden inside you. This is what catching your beliefs feels like, a moment of recognition, a moment of, oh, this wasn't me, a moment of liberation. And here is the beauty. You do not need to fight your old beliefs. You do not need to argue with them. You do not need to destroy them. You only need to see them, because seeing is dissolving. Seeing removes their power. Seeing makes the unconscious conscious. And once something becomes conscious, it can no longer control you. In my own life, I have seen again and again that awareness is the greatest alchemy. You do not transform by force, you transform by seeing. The moment you see your hidden belief, the moment you recognize the pattern, the moment you whisper to yourself, "Ah, that is not mine," the belief begins to crumble like dry leaves in your hand. This is why meditation is such a powerful doorway to abundance. Not because it brings money directly, but because it brings awareness. It slows the mind enough for you to see what was driving you. It gives you space to notice the whisper beneath your choices. It reveals the puppet strings you never knew were there. Now that we have brought these hidden beliefs into the light, you are ready for the next shift, a shift from scarcity to spaciousness. Because once you release the old beliefs, something inside you opens, a softness, a stillness, a space. And that space becomes the ground where true abundance can grow. Many of you ask how to deepen this practice, how to truly identify these strings. This is why we have made specific resources available. Our ebooks are written for exactly this purpose, to help you navigate the inner landscape. If you feel called to go deeper, the link is in the video description. Now that you've begun to see the hidden beliefs that shaped your life, something inside you becomes lighter, like an untying, a loosening, a small breath entering a room that has been closed for too long. And it is in this soft, tender opening that we step into the next great shift. A shift so simple and yet so powerful that it becomes the quiet foundation of every kind of abundance. This shift is from scarcity to spaciousness, not from poverty to wealth, not from fear to greed, not from lack to accumulation. These are surface changes. The real change, the deep change, the change that transforms your entire relationship with money happens when your inner world expands, when your chest opens, when your mind grows quiet enough to see clearly, when the tightness that has lived inside you for years begins to dissolve, because abundance is not something you chase. Abundance is something you allow, and allowing requires space. Let us begin with something most people never realize. Scarcity is not a financial condition. Scarcity is an emotional condition, a mental condition, a spiritual condition. You can be poor in money and rich in spaciousness. You can be rich in money and suffocated by scarcity. Scarcity is the feeling that there is not enough. Not enough time, not enough opportunity, not enough safety, not enough worth, not enough you. And this feeling becomes the lens through which you see life. When the mind is tight, the world feels tight. When the mind is small, everything feels small. When the mind is crowded, nothing can enter. This is why no amount of money can heal a scarcity mind. A small cup cannot hold a waterfall. You must become spacious inside so life can flow through you. Let me give you an image. Imagine a lake so still and clear that you can see all the way to its depths. No ripples, no disturbance, no chaos. In that stillness, everything is visible. Fish glide through the water like thoughts passing through an empty mind. Stones rest on the bottom in perfect silence. The reflection of the sky is flawless. This is the inner spaciousness we speak of. A mind clear enough to see, a heart open enough to receive, a body relaxed enough to trust. Now imagine a lake during a storm. Waves thrashing, mud rising, the water shaking in every direction. Even if something precious falls into this lake, you cannot see it. Even if something beautiful tries to reflect itself, the image is broken. This is the mind of scarcity, muddy, crowded, frantic. In this state, opportunities pass you by not because they aren't there, but because you cannot see them through the storm inside you. Spaciousness is not something you force. Spaciousness is something you allow. It begins when you sit quietly for a moment with no judgment, no rush, no expectations. It begins when you breathe deeply and let the exhale soften your body. It begins when you give yourself permission to be still. It begins when you stop trying to control everything and allow life to unfold. Spaciousness is the natural state of a relaxed mind. And here is something profound. Spaciousness creates wisdom. When you are spacious inside, you see solutions you could not see before. You hear intuition that was drowned out by noise. You notice opportunities that once seemed invisible. You make decisions from clarity, not panic. And clarity is the foundation of wealth. Not just financial wealth, but inner wealth, emotional wealth, relational wealth, spiritual wealth. A spacious mind is a wealthy mind. This is why I say abundance is a side effect of awareness. When you're spacious inside, you stop approaching money with fear. You stop making desperate choices. You stop chasing. You stop clinging. You begin to move through life like a person who trusts themselves, who trusts existence, who trusts the unfolding of events. And trust creates spaciousness. Spaciousness creates clarity. Clarity creates wisdom. Wisdom creates wealth. And wealth creates more spaciousness. It becomes a beautiful, effortless circle. But now that we've created this inner space, we must walk into the next truth. The truth that your body must feel safe with wealth, not your mind, not your logic, your body. Because if your nervous system believes money is danger, no amount of spaciousness will be enough. So let us walk there now, gently and honestly, because this is where transformation becomes physical. Now that you breathe some space into your inner world, now that scarcity has begun to loosen its hold and spaciousness has opened like a soft window in your chest, we can go even deeper into the realm where transformation becomes embodied, lived, felt. Because abundance is not only a shift in your mind, it is not only a shift in your beliefs. It is not even just a shift in your energy. Abundance must reach your nervous system. It must reach the body that carries your fear, the muscles that store your memories, the chest that tightens when you think of risk, the stomach that knots when you imagine receiving more than the world told you you deserve. Until your nervous system feels safe with wealth, abundance will always feel like danger, and anything that feels like danger, the body will reject. Let me speak softly here because this is delicate. Your nervous system learned about money long before your mind did. It learned from the emotional landscape around you, from the tension in the room when bills were due, from the silence in your parents' voices, from the fear in their eyes, from the arguments whispered behind closed doors. Your small body absorbed these vibrations and made a simple conclusion: money is not safe. Money is danger. Money brings tension. Money brings conflict. Money brings pain. And this conclusion did not come through thought. It came through survival instinct. It took root in your body like a reflex. So now, when money tries to enter your life, your body reacts. Your chest tightens. Your breath shortens. Your mind spins. You feel exposed. You feel unworthy. You feel overwhelmed. And you sabotage, not from weakness, but from protection. The body is simply doing what it learned to do, keep you away from threat. The tragedy is that the threat was never money. The threat was the emotional environment surrounding it. Let me give you an image to feel this. Imagine trying to carry warm water in shaking hands. No matter how precious the water is, no matter how much you want it, it spills. Not because you do not deserve it, but because your hands were never taught to stay still. This is what happens when wealth arrives, but the nervous system is still wired for scarcity. The shaking is not your fault. It is conditioning. It is survival. It is an imprint. And here is the most important thing you must understand about this shaking. The nervous system does not listen to words. You cannot simply stand in front of a mirror, tell yourself, "I am safe with money," and expect your body to believe it. Your body does not respond to thoughts. Your body responds to experience, to breath, to pace, to presence, to repetition. The body learns through felt safety. It learns through relaxation. It learns through gentle expansion, not sudden force. This is why I have said again and again, relaxation is the doorway. Abundance does not enter through tension. Abundance enters through calmness. When you relax, even for a moment, you send a signal to your entire being. I am safe. And the nervous system slowly, carefully begins to unwind patterns that have been tight for 30, 40, 50 years. This is not an intellectual shift. It is a biological one. It is the rewiring of a system that has carried fear for decades. Try to remember a moment in your life when you felt deeply safe. Not because of circumstances, but because you were present. Maybe it was sitting under a tree, listening to the wind in the leaves. Maybe it was watching the ocean, seeing the waves rise and fall without effort. Maybe it was holding someone you love. In that moment, your body softened, your breath deepened, your mind quieted. Do you remember how easy life felt in that moment? How simple everything became. That state is the natural state of abundance. That state is the foundation of wealth, not the money itself, but the internal capacity to hold it. And when your nervous system feels safe, something extraordinary begins to happen. Opportunities that once terrified you now feel possible. Risks that once froze you now feel manageable. Decisions that once overwhelmed you now feel simple. Wealth flows not because the world changed, but because your internal capacity expanded. This is the real transformation, from a body wired for threat to a body wired for trust. Now that we have entered the sacred territory of the nervous system, we are ready to go even deeper into the next truth. How to stop sabotaging abundance once it begins to arrive. Because safety is the doorway, but breaking the cycle of self-sabotage is what allows you to stay in the room. Let us walk into that next insight together. Now that your nervous system has stepped into the light, now that you can feel how your inner safety shapes your relationship with wealth, we can finally enter one of the deepest patterns in the human experience, the cycle of self-sabotage. This is the place where many people get stuck again and again without ever understanding why. They take one step forward and 2 steps back. They rise and suddenly they fall. They open a new path and then quietly destroy it. Not because they lack ability, not because they lack intelligence, not because they lack desire, but because they have an unconscious loyalty to their old identity. A loyalty so old, so quiet, so hidden that they do not even know it exists. Let me explain this gently. Every human being carries an image of themselves inside. A silent portrait painted by childhood, shaped by experience, reinforced by the stories they heard again and again. And when life tries to give them something bigger, brighter, more expansive than that inner portrait allows, they pull back, they shrink, they retreat, they sabotage, because the new life does not match the old self. And the old self, the one made of fear, scarcity, comparison, guilt, fights for survival. Self-sabotage is not an enemy. It is simply the wounded self trying to stay safe. Let me show you what this looks like. Imagine a bird raised in a cage. The cage is painful, yes. It is small, yes, but it is familiar. One day someone opens the door and sunlight pours in. The sky is right there, vast, endless, inviting. But the bird hesitates. It walks to the edge and stops. It flaps its wings and retreats. It steps out halfway and then jumps back inside. To the cage, danger looks like freedom. To the conditioned mind, abundance looks like a threat. The bird is not stupid. The bird is loyal to what it knows. This is how you have moved through your life. Each time something greater tries to enter, a new opportunity, a new relationship, a new way of living, your old self whispers, "No, that's too much. That's not you. You don't belong there." And because you have heard that whisper since childhood, you obey it without even noticing. You sabotage without meaning to. You avoid without noticing. You delay without understanding. You shrink without choice. Not because you are weak, but because you are conditioned. Let me make this simple. You cannot live a wealthy life with a poor self-image. You cannot hold abundance with hands still shaped by scarcity. You cannot live free while carrying the identity of the caged. And until you update the image inside you, the life outside you cannot change. But here is the beauty. The moment you see the pattern, the moment you catch yourself pulling away, the moment you whisper, "Ah, this is fear, not truth," the spell begins to dissolve. Awareness disrupts the pattern. Awareness exposes the shadow. Awareness makes it impossible to keep sabotaging blindly. You may still hesitate. You may still feel fear, but you will no longer mistake fear for instinct. You will no longer confuse discomfort with danger. You will no longer treat the cage as home. Self-sabotage thrives in darkness. It dies in awareness. And what replaces it? Alignment. A new inner image formed not from fear but from truth. Instead of seeing yourself as small, you begin to feel yourself as spacious. Instead of seeing yourself as unworthy, you begin to feel your inherent dignity. Instead of seeing yourself as someone who must chase money, you begin to feel yourself as someone who attracts it naturally. This shift is not loud, it is quiet, like the first light of dawn touching the world. And once this shift begins, your outer world cannot stay the same. The decisions you make change, the opportunities you accept change, the energy you carry changes. The way life responds to you changes because you are no longer living from your past. You are living from your possibility. If you recognize this bird in the cage within yourself, if you are ready to fly, leave a comment below saying, "I am opening the door." Let your words be the first act of your liberation. Now that we have ended the cycle of self-sabotage, now that your inner world is no longer pulling you backward every time you move forward, you are ready for the next chapter. Creating a new relationship with money, one built not on fear or struggle, but on awareness, presence, and trust. Let us move into that space together. Now that the old patterns have begun to loosen, we can finally step into a higher space. A space where money is no longer something you chase or fear, but something you relate to with clarity. This is where wealth begins to grow from presence instead of panic, from awareness instead of anxiety. Because anxiety is the mind running without you. Awareness is you walking with the mind. Anxiety is noise. Awareness is silence. Anxiety makes you blind. Awareness makes you see. Let us sit in this quietly. Most people live their entire lives reacting to money. They react to bills. They react to opportunities. They react to loss. They react to fear. Their decisions are not made from clarity. They are made from contraction. They spend to soothe their anxiety. They save out of fear, not intelligence. They work from panic, not purpose. They invest from insecurity, not wisdom. And because the foundation is shaky, every choice made from that place becomes shaky too. This is why so many people feel overwhelmed around money. It is not because money is complicated. It is because anxiety is loud. Awareness, on the other hand, is simple. It is the state where you can see your thoughts without becoming them. It is the space where you can feel your fear without obeying it. It is the gap between stimulus and response. It is the moment where clarity enters. And in that moment, everything changes, especially your relationship with money. Let me give you an image. Imagine walking through a dense forest at night with only a dim light in your hand. Every shadow looks like danger. Every sound feels threatening. You rush, you panic, you stumble. You don't see the path because fear has filled your vision. Now imagine the same forest at dawn. The trees are the same, the ground is the same, the path is the same, but the light is different, and because the light is different, your experience is different. You walk calmly, you see clearly, you move with ease. Nothing outside changed, only the awareness inside you changed. This is exactly how awareness transforms your financial life. When you move from awareness, you spend with intention. You earn with clarity, you save with wisdom, you invest with calmness, you stop acting from impulse, you stop making choices out of fear, you stop tightening your chest every time you think about money. You begin to see money as a tool, not a threat, not a master, not a measure of your worth, a tool that you can use with precision when the mind is quiet. Awareness also reveals opportunity. Anxiety blinds you to possibility. Awareness makes possibility visible. When your mind is calm, you notice doors you could not see before. You hear ideas that were too quiet to reach you when your inner world was full of noise. You recognize alignment. You sense when something is right for you and when it is not. You feel the difference between fear-based intuition and true intuition. And you make decisions that grow your life, not shrink it. And here is something people rarely understand. Awareness dissolves guilt around receiving. Most people feel guilty about money because guilt was implanted in them early. But when you live with awareness, guilt loses its voice. You begin to feel the naturalness of receiving. You begin to understand that abundance is not greed, it is not selfishness, it is not moral failure. It is simply the way life moves when you stop resisting it. A flower opening is not greedy, it is natural. A river flowing is not greedy, it is natural. A human being expanding is not greedy, it is natural. When you live with awareness, you align with this naturalness. You stop clutching at money. You stop fearing it. You stop worshipping it. You begin to move with it the way you move with your breath. Effortless, fluid, steady. Money becomes something that passes through your awareness, shaped by the clarity you bring, guided by the consciousness you carry. It becomes a companion on your path, not a weight on your chest. And once awareness becomes your foundation, your relationship with money shifts from survival to creation, from reactivity to presence, from fear to flow. This is the beginning of a new life, a life where money can finally support you because you no longer treat it with panic. Now that awareness has entered your relationship with money, we can step even deeper into the state of letting life support you instead of fighting it. Because once you stop resisting and start aligning, something miraculous begins to happen. Life becomes generous. Let us move there now. Now that you have tasted what it feels like to move with awareness instead of anxiety, we can walk into one of the most beautiful, liberating truths you will ever discover. Not just about money, but about existence itself. And it is this: life is not against you. Life is not trying to make you suffer. Life is not withholding abundance from you. Life is not waiting to punish you or test you or break you. Life wants to support you. Life wants to flow through you. Life wants to nourish you the way the sun nourishes flowers and the way rain nourishes the earth. But you cannot feel that support while you are fighting life. You cannot feel that support while you are tense, afraid, contracted. To receive life, you must relax into life. To receive abundance, you must stop resisting what is already moving toward you. People think they are alone in this world. They think they must do everything themselves. They think they must struggle for every step, fight for every breath, claw for every opportunity. They think life is a battlefield and survival means gripping tightly with both hands. But the truth is the opposite. The more you grip, the more life slips away. The more you cling, the more opportunity escapes. The more you force, the more exhausted you become. Life cannot enter a closed fist. Life enters an open palm. If you are ready to open your palm, if you are ready to stop the fight, consider expressing that openness through a super thanks. It is not about the amount. It is about the gesture of an open hand, signaling to the universe that you are ready to participate in the flow of value. Let me offer you an image. Imagine a sailboat. When the sail is closed tight, the boat goes nowhere. No matter how hard the boat tries, no matter how strong the wind blows, no matter how much the sailor struggles. But when the sail opens even slightly, the wind begins to carry the boat forward. No effort is needed, no struggle, no fight. Movement happens naturally. This is the difference between a life lived from fear and a life lived from trust. Fear closes the sail, trust opens it, and trust is not blind. Trust is an inner knowing that you are connected to something larger than your personal effort. Trust is the understanding that existence has been moving for billions of years without your help, and it will continue to move with or without your tension. Trust is the softness that comes when you realize you do not need to control everything for abundance to appear. You only need to align with the natural flow of life. But here is the challenge. People fear surrender because they think surrender means giving up control. But fear has already taken your control. Fear controls your breath. Fear controls your decisions. Fear controls your spending, your saving, your sense of worthiness. Fear has been running your life like a puppeteer hiding behind a curtain. Surrender is not giving up control. Surrender is taking control back from fear, from conditioning, from the old programs that kept you small. Surrender is the courage to stop fighting life and let life show you another way. Think about the moments in your life when things unfolded beautifully. They were not moments of tight planning. They were moments of openness, moments when you were relaxed enough to notice the right person, the right idea, the right path. There were moments when life felt like it was helping you. that feeling is not random. That feeling is life supporting you. But to experience that support consistently, you must live from relaxation, not tension. You must trust the flow, not resist it. Money moves the same way. When you relax, you make better decisions. When you trust, you see opportunities clearly. When you stop grasping, wealth approaches naturally. When you stop doubting yourself, life stops doubting you. Abundance comes to those who are open enough to let it enter. Let me give you another image. Imagine two hands held out to receive. One hand is tight, shaking, afraid to drop anything. The other hand is open, steady, relaxed. Which hand can receive more? Which hand can hold without losing? Which hand can welcome wealth without spilling it? The open hand, the steady hand, the relaxed hand. This is what your inner world must become. And once you allow life to support you, something extraordinary begins to happen. You begin to see that wealth is not something you chase or force. Wealth is something you allow, something that comes to those who are in harmony with themselves, something that flows toward ease, not toward struggle. Now that we've opened this beautiful truth that life supports you when you stop resisting, we can step into the next layer of transformation, building wealth from presence, not panic, because presence sharpens your vision, quiets your mind, and makes you powerful in a way anxiety never could. Let us walk there now. Now that you have felt the softness of letting life support you, now that trust has begun to replace tension, we enter the next great shift in your relationship with money. A shift so simple yet so transformative that it can change the entire trajectory of your financial life. And it is this: wealth is built from presence, not panic. Panic scatters your energy. Panic clouds your mind. Panic pulls you into the past or throws you into the future, but it never lets you stand in the one place where life actually moves, this moment. Presence, on the other hand, sharpens everything. Presence is clarity. Presence is power. Presence is the lens through which wealth becomes visible. Let me bring you into this slowly. Most people try to build wealth while living inside a storm of panic. Their minds race, their hearts contract, their breath shortens, their thoughts jump like frightened birds. Every decision is tied to fear: fear of losing, fear of failing, fear of looking foolish, fear of stepping into the unknown. And decisions made from fear always lead to the same place: confusion, chaos, regret. Panic creates blindness. Panic creates noise. Panic creates mistakes. How can a person see opportunity when their mind is shaking? How can a person receive abundance when their entire being is bracing for danger? Presence is the opposite. Presence is like standing on a mountain while the wind blows below you. You remain still, steady, silent. Presence doesn't mean nothing is happening. Presence means you are not being pulled by everything that is happening. Presence makes you the center of your world instead of a victim of it. Let me give you an image. Imagine a still pond under the moonlight. The surface is silent. The reflection is perfect. You can see the moon, the stars, the trees around you. Now imagine the same pond during a storm. The water is wild, the reflection is broken, you cannot see anything clearly. The pond didn't change, the world around it didn't change. Only the presence or absence of stillness changed. Your mind is this pond. Wealth reflects itself only in still waters. This is why presence is the root of wise decisions. When you are present, you do not rush, you do not chase. You do not act from fear. You see what is true. You feel what is aligned. You hear the whisper of intuition beneath the noise of thought. Presence is the difference between reacting and responding. Reacting is panic. Responding is awareness. And here is something most people do not realize. Presence itself attracts opportunities. People are drawn to someone who is calm, grounded, steady. Opportunities flow to someone who moves with clarity. Money gravitates towards someone who is not desperate for it. The world trusts a person who trusts themselves. Presence makes you magnetic not because you try, but because presence itself is a rare state in a world full of noise. Think of the people you have admired in your life, the ones who seemed powerful without force, the ones whose words carried weight even when they spoke softly, the ones who made you feel safe by simply being there. What they had was presence, and presence is wealth long before money arrives. When you build wealth from presence, money becomes a result, not a pursuit. It becomes a reflection of your inner alignment. It becomes a natural outcome of clarity. You no longer chase opportunities, you select them. You no longer fear decisions, you sense them. You no longer cling to outcomes, you move with life instead of against it. And once presence becomes your default, something beautiful unfolds. You stop running, you stop grasping, you stop collapsing into old patterns. You start living from a place where every moment looks different. Not because the world changed, but because you changed. Your inner stillness becomes your greatest asset. Your quiet mind becomes your guidance. Your steadiness becomes your strength. If you wish to cultivate this inner stillness, to master the art of presence in a chaotic world, our ebooks offer step-by-step guidance. They are a map to the mountain of your own being. Now that presence has entered your financial life, we move into the final layer of inner wealth. The kind of wealth that cannot be lost, stolen, or manipulated by the world. The wealth that comes from freedom, not accumulation. The wealth that makes everything else possible. Let us continue into that truth. Now that you've learned to move with awareness, to relax into life, to build from presence rather than panic, we arrive at a threshold. A threshold most people never cross because they are too busy counting what is in their hands to notice what is in their hearts. Everything we have explored up to now, every shift, every insight, every unraveling of old conditioning was leading you here, not just toward acquiring money, but toward understanding the profound emptiness that drives the need for it. We must speak of the void. We must speak of the hollow space inside you that you have been trying to fill with paper, with coins, with numbers on a screen. Real wealth is not having money. It is healing the part of you that feels it needs money to be whole. Real wealth is inner freedom, inner stability, inner spaciousness, inner trust. And until you face the void, no amount of gold will ever be enough. You see, society has played a very clever trick on you. It has created a hole in your soul through schooling, through comparison, through judgment, and then it has sold you the idea that money is the only cement that can fill that hole. You feel lonely, buy something, you feel unworthy, earn more, you feel small, build a bigger house, you feel powerless, get a higher position. But let me ask you and answer honestly in the silence of your own being. Has it ever worked? You bought the thing, and for a moment, yes, there was a spark, a tiny hit of dopamine. But an hour later, a day later, the object remained, but the feeling was gone. The car is still in the driveway, but the emptiness has returned to the driver's seat. The clothes are in the closet, but the insecurity is still wearing your skin. Why? because you cannot solve an inner problem with an outer solution. You cannot fill a spiritual emptiness with material objects. It is like trying to satisfy your thirst by eating stones. You can eat 1,000 stones, but your throat will remain dry. You can accumulate $1 million, but if your inner being is still living in the beggar consciousness, you will simply be a rich beggar. You will be a beggar with a big bank account, still anxious, still grabbing, still terrified of losing. This is why I say to you, the journey to abundance is not a journey of addition. It is a journey of subtraction. It is not about adding more money to your life. It is about subtracting the illusions that make you feel poor. Real wealth begins inside you. It begins when you stop using money as a drug to numb your existential anxiety. Most people use money as a shield. They think, if I have enough, life cannot hurt me, death cannot touch me, pain cannot reach me. This is the greatest illusion of all. Look at the billionaires. Do they not get sick? Do they not suffer heartbreak? Do they not feel loneliness? Do they not die? Money is a tool for comfort, yes. It is a tool for freedom, yes. But it is not a god. It cannot save you from the human condition. And when you expect money to be your god, you become its slave. You worship it. You sacrifice your time, your joy, your family, your very breath on the altar of this false god, hoping it will grant you salvation. But it never does. It only demands more sacrifice. Just 1 more million, it whispers. Just 1 more promotion, then you will be safe. It is a lie. If you are ready to stop sacrificing your soul for an illusion, if you are ready to reclaim your sovereignty, I invite you to click the join button below. Our community is for those who are breaking the chains of this false worship, those who are learning to use money as a servant rather than bowing to it as a master. When you are controlled by this illusion, you live in constant tension. You live in the future. One day, I will be rich. One day, I will be happy. But life does not happen in the future. Life happens now. And if you are poor in the now, you will be poor in the future, because the future is just an extension of your present state of being. Freedom, on the other hand, makes you powerful, not externally, but internally. Freedom is realizing that your worthiness was given to you the moment you were born. It is not something you earn. It is not something you buy. It is your birthright. Does a tree have to earn its place in the forest? Does a star have to pay to shine in the sky? Does a river have to work hard to deserve its flow? No, they simply are. And in their being, they are abundant. You are part of this same existence. You are not an employee of the universe. You are an expression of the universe. The same life force that moves the stars moves through your body. How can the universe be poor? And if you are the universe expressing itself as a human, how can you be poor? Poverty is a man-made concept. Nature knows no poverty. Nature knows only cycles: winter, spring, summer, fall, resting, growing, blooming, releasing. But humans have invented a psychological state called poverty, and you have been living in it, not because your pocket is empty, but because your mind is isolated. Let me give you an image to deepen this. Imagine a bird flying high above a storm. The clouds below are dark, chaotic, violent, lightning flashes, thunder roars. But above the clouds, the sky is clear, the air is calm, the sun is shining. The storm does not touch the bird because the bird is flying above it. Now look at your financial life. The market crashes, that is the storm. Inflation rises, that is the storm. You lose a job, that is the storm. If you are flying low, if your identity is tied to these things, the storm batters you. You get wet, cold, frightened. You think the world is ending. But if you are flying high, if your identity is rooted in your inner spaciousness, in your awareness, you simply watch the storm. You say, the weather is changing, but you do not crash. Your inner altitude protects you. In the same way, when you are free from the attachment to money, you rise above the financial storms of the world. You are no longer dragged by every wave of uncertainty. You are no longer controlled by external forces. You stand above the storm, and from this high vantage point you can see things the low-flying birds cannot see. You can see where the sun is breaking through. You can see where the new opportunities are forming. You can see the bigger picture. This is why the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. It is not just the system, though the system is rigged. It is that the rich, the truly wealthy in spirit, are flying at an altitude where they can see the landscape. The poor are on the ground, blinded by the fog of survival. I want to lift you to this altitude. I want you to feel the wind of freedom under your wings. When you are no longer attached, money comes more easily. Why? Because you are not strangling the flow with your desperation. Have you ever tried to catch a butterfly? If you run after it, if you swipe at it with your hands, it flies away. It is terrified of your frantic energy. But if you sit still, if you become like a flower, quiet, open, fragrant, the butterfly comes to you, it lands on your shoulder. When you stop begging, life becomes generous. When you stop fearing loss, abundance flows, because fear blocks receiving. Freedom opens it. Fear clenches the fist. Freedom opens the hand. Now let us go deeper into this beggar mentality, because it is hiding even in your prayers. How do you pray? Do you pray with gratitude, or do you pray with demands? Please give me this. Please fix that. Please send money. This is the prayer of a beggar. And when you pray as a beggar, you are affirming your poverty. You are telling the universe, I do not have. And the universe says, yes, you do not have. Use the law of the mirror we discussed. But the prayer of the wealthy spirit is different. The wealthy spirit does not ask. The wealthy spirit thanks. Thank you for the breath. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for the challenge that makes me stronger. Thank you for the abundance that is on its way. This prayer vibrates with possession, not lack. It vibrates with trust, and the universe responds to that vibration. If you wish to shift your vibration from begging to thanking, show your appreciation for this teaching with a super thanks. It is a tangible way to practice the art of gratitude, to seal this wisdom into your life through an act of giving. True wealth is measured not by how much you have, but by how lightly you can hold what you have. Can you hold money like water? If you clench water, it slips away. If you cup it gently, it stays. A wealthy mind can lose money and remain steady. A wealthy spirit does not panic when the world shifts. Imagine a man who has built his house on a rock, and another who has built his house on a pile of gold coins. The earth shakes, the coins scatter, the house falls, but the rock remains. Your awareness is the rock. Your presence is the rock. Your connection to the divine is the rock. Build your house there, and then let the gold coins be the decoration, not the foundation. Now that this inner freedom has become visible, we can walk into the next truth, the truth that brings everything together. That being rich from the inside out is the key to abundance. But what does it mean to be rich from the inside? It is not just a poetic phrase, it is a biological, chemical, energetic reality. When you are stressed about money, your body produces cortisol. Your vision narrows. Your brain goes into survival mode. You literally become less intelligent. You miss patterns, you miss connections. You become stupid with fear. But when you are rich inside, when you are flooded with serotonin, oxytocin, the chemicals of safety and joy, your brain lights up. You see solutions where others see walls. You see bridges where others see chasms. This is the biology of wealth. You must hack your own system. You must cultivate joy before the money arrives. You must cultivate peace before the bills are paid. This sounds irrational to the logical mind. Osho, how can I be peaceful when the debt collectors are calling? I say to you, that is the only time you need peace. If everything was perfect, you wouldn't need peace. You would just be comfortable. Peace is the fire that burns in the middle of the storm. And when you can hold that peace in the middle of the chaos begins to organize itself around your peace. Order comes from your center. We have spoken of the void, and we have spoken of the freedom above the storm. Now we must descend into the deepest wound of all, the wound that lies festering in the dark, covered by bandages of false pride and excuses, the wound of unworthiness, the I am not enough script, unseen, unheard, yet shaping every step you take. You see, you might consciously want money, you might have a vision board, you might say affirmations, I am a millionaire, I am successful. You shout it at the mirror, but your unconscious mind is whispering a different story. It says, no, you're not. It says, remember what your father said. It says, remember where you came from. It says, rich people are evil and you want to be good, don't you? This conflict is the handbrake on your car. You have one foot on the gas, your conscious desire, and one foot on the brake, your unconscious guilt. And the engine is roaring, the wheels are spinning, smoke is rising, but you are not moving. You are just burning out. You are exhausting yourself in a stationary war. To release the brake, you must look at the guilt. Where did it come from? Most people feel guilty about money because guilt was implanted in them early. Religion told you that poverty is holy. Society told you that wealth is stolen. Your family told you that wanting more is selfish. Eat your food. There are starving children in the world. Do you remember this? They connected your nourishment to someone else's suffering. They taught you that for you to have, someone else must lose. This is the zero-sum game lie. They taught you that abundance is a limited pie, and if you take a big slice, you are a thief. But look at nature. Look at a cherry tree. Does it produce just enough cherries for the birds? No, it produces thousands. It drops them on the ground. It rots in abundance. It is wasteful in its generosity. The sun does not say, I must save my light for tomorrow. It burns, it gives, it pours. Existence is not a zero-sum game. Existence is infinite creativity. When you create value, when you create art, when you create service, you are not taking from anyone. You are adding to the whole. You are expanding the pie. But this guilt, it is sticky. It makes you sabotage. This is why people lose money after making it. They get a bonus and suddenly the car breaks down. They get a raise and suddenly they get sick. The unconscious mind says, this money is dangerous. Get rid of it so we can be innocent again. You must rewrite the definition of innocence. Innocence is not being poor. Innocence is being authentic. Innocence is being true to your nature. And your nature, like the nature of the cherry tree, is to bloom. If you suppress your bloom, you are not being holy. You are being ungrateful to the gardener, to God, to existence. God did not create you to wither. God created you to expand. To deny your abundance is to insult the Creator. Think of it this way. If you give a gift to a friend and they keep it in the basement, never opening it, never using it, saying, "I am too humble to use this," is that humility? No, it is rejection. Life has given you talents. Life has given you desires. Life has given you the capacity to create wealth. To hide these gifts is not spiritual, it is rude. You begin to feel the naturalness of receiving. You begin to understand that abundance is not greed. It is simply the way life moves when you stop resisting it. Greed is a hole. Abundance is an overflow. They are opposites. The greedy man takes because he feels empty. The abundant man receives because he is full, and from his fullness he gives. You cannot give from an empty cup. You cannot help the poor by being one of them. You cannot uplift the world by staying down. You must rise, not for ego, not to show off, but to be a resource, to be a distribution center for the divine energy. Think of money as electricity. Is electricity good or bad? Neither. If you put it in a hospital, it saves lives. If you put it in an electric chair, it kills. Money is just current. It amplifies who you are. If you are a greedy person, money will make you more greedy. If you are a kind person, money will make you more kind. If you are a fearful person, money will make you more terrified. If you are a loving person, money will allow your love to reach thousands instead of just your neighbor. So the work is not to avoid money. The work is to purify the character that holds the money. Awareness dissolves guilt around receiving. When you bring awareness to your money, you purify it, you spend it with love, you invest it with consciousness, you circulate it with trust. And speaking of circulation, this is the next secret. Money must move. Money is called currency because it must flow like a current. If you hoard it, if you stop the flow out of fear, the water becomes stagnant. It smells, it breeds disease. The miser is the most miserable person on earth. He has the gold, but he does not have the wealth. He is a guard at the gate of his own prison. The more you grip, the more life slips away. You must learn the art of the open hand. Receiving and giving are one breath. Inhale, exhale. You cannot just inhale. Try it. Try to only inhale. You will die. You must exhale to make room for the fresh air. You must give to make room for the new receiving. This does not mean giving foolishly. It means giving from flow. It means paying your bills with gratitude, not resentment. When you pay for your electricity, do you say, "Damn this company"? Or do you say, "Thank you for the light"? The money is leaving your account either way, but the energy determines whether you are poor or rich. If you pay with resentment, you are poor. If you pay with gratitude, you are participating in the great exchange of life. I want you to try a practice. For the next week, every time money leaves your hand, buying a coffee, paying rent, giving a tip, bless it. Say silently, "Go, feed the world and return to me multiplied." Send it out as a messenger of your abundance. Do not send it out as a prisoner escaping. This shift in attitude rewires your nervous system. When you relax even for a moment, you send a signal to your entire being. I am safe. And when you bless your money, you are saying, I have enough. I trust there is more coming. This signal is magnetic. Many of you have asked for practical tools to help with this rewiring. Our ebooks are designed to be your daily companions in this practice, offering specific meditations and shifts for your daily interactions with money. Check the link in the description to deepen your journey. A loyalty so old, so quiet, so hidden that they do not even know it exists. We are breaking that loyalty today. You are no longer loyal to your ancestors' fear. You are loyal to your own potential. You are the cycle breaker. The line of poverty consciousness ends with you. The line of fear ends with you. This is a heavy burden, but also a great honor. You have been chosen by your lineage to be the one who wakes up, to be the one who turns on the light in the dark room of your family history. Do not take this lightly. It requires courage. It requires the willingness to be different, to be the black sheep who becomes the golden sheep. They may judge you at first. They may say you have changed. They may say you are arrogant. Let them speak. They are speaking from their sleep. You cannot explain the sunrise to someone who insists on keeping their eyes closed. You just shine. Eventually, the warmth of your light will make them open their eyes too. Awareness is you walking with the mind. It is you becoming the master of the instrument. Money is an instrument, like a violin. If you do not know how to play it, it makes a terrible noise, it screeches, it hurts your ears. But if you learn the art, it makes music that can make angels weep. You have been handed a violin called money and told it is a weapon. No wonder you are afraid of it. No wonder you want to throw it away. But today, I am teaching you the scales. I am teaching you how to hold the bow. The music is waiting inside the strings, but you must be relaxed to play. Abundance does not enter through tension. Have you ever seen a tense virtuoso? No, they are fluid. They are one with the music. Be one with the flow of money. Do not stand on the bank of the river watching it flow by, thirsty and complaining. Jump in, become the river. They think life is a battlefield and survival means gripping tightly with both hands. But the river does not grip the shore. It trusts the gravity. It trusts the ocean is calling it. You have an ocean calling you. An ocean of freedom, an ocean of creativity. Do not hold on to the rocks of your past. Let go, float. The current of existence knows the way. Trust is the understanding that existence has been moving for billions of years without your help. It grew the forests. It managed the tides. It spun the planets. Do you really think it cannot manage your bank account if you align with it? Do you really think you are the exception to the universal abundance? That is not humility, that is ego. To think the universe supports everything except me is the biggest ego trip of all. Drop the ego of the victim. Pick up the crown of the co-creator. Surrender is taking control back from fear. It is the ultimate act of power. Surrender is the courage to stop fighting life and let life show you another way. And now that you have surrendered the fight, now that you have decided to stop swimming upstream against the current of existence, we must talk about the nature of the water itself. We must talk about the energy of money in motion. We have spoken of the inner state, but how does this translate to the outer action? This is where many spiritual people get lost. They think, I will just meditate and money will fall from the ceiling. No. Awareness creates wealth, yes, but awareness must move. Awareness must act. Awareness must make decisions. We arrive now at the art of flow, the alchemy of spending and receiving. We must understand how it moves. You see, money is very much like blood in the body. As long as the blood is circulating, you are alive, you are healthy, you are warm. The moment the blood stops, you are dead. The moment the blood clots, you are in danger. Society, in its ignorance, taught you to hoard. It taught you that the size of your pile determines your safety. But a pile of blood is not a healthy body, it is a crime scene. A pile of money that does not move is not wealth, it is stagnation. Money is your mirror, and if you are holding on to money with a death grip, the mirror shows a person who is terrified of tomorrow. You must learn to trust the circulation. When you spend, you must not feel that you are losing. This is the great error in the poverty language. You say, I spent money. Spent implies it is gone, exhausted, finished. You should say, I circulated money. I invested energy. When you buy food, you are exchanging paper for nourishment. Is that a loss? No, it is a gain. You are gaining life energy. When you pay for a course, you are exchanging numbers for wisdom. Is that a loss? No, it is a transformation. You are turning lead into gold. But if you hand over the money with a trembling hand, thinking, oh God, now I have less, you poison the nourishment. You block the wisdom. You tell the universe, I prefer the paper over the life. And the universe hears you. It says, okay, keep the paper, starve the soul. Wealth is something you allow, something that comes to those who are in harmony with themselves. Harmony means balance, inhalation, exhalation, income, outcome. If you block the outcome, the income must stop. It is a physical law. If you plug the drain in your bathtub, eventually you cannot add more water, or it will overflow and create a mess. You must let it flow. This is why the richest people, not just the ones with money, but the ones with legacy, are always looking for ways to place their money. They're not looking to keep it, they're looking to place it where it will grow, where it will create, where it will expand. They play a game of expansion. The poor play a game of retention. How much can I keep? Leads to a small life. How much can I create? Leads to a boundless life. You are living from your possibility, not your past. And this brings us to the vibration of the transaction. Every dollar, every euro, every rupee you touch carries a frequency. You are the charger of that frequency. When you pay an employee or a waiter or a clerk, what are you attaching to that money? Are you attaching the energy of, here, take it, I resent having to give this to you? Or are you attaching the energy of, thank you for your service, may this bless you? If you attach resentment, that money goes out into the world carrying a virus. And because the world is a circle, that virus eventually comes back to you. It comes back as an unexpected bill, a fine, a loss. You created the energetic debt and life collects it. But if you attach blessing, that money goes out as a healer. It makes the waiter smile. He goes home and is kind to his child. The child goes to school and learns well. The energy spirals upward, and that spiral eventually comes back to you as an opportunity, a gift, a miracle. Once you understand that wealth begins inside you, your entire life begins to reshape itself from the inside out. So, the practice is this: become a conscious conduit. Do not be a dam, be a riverbed. Let the water rush through you. Enjoy the feeling of the water, enjoy the sound of it, but do not try to freeze it. Frozen water is ice. It is cold, hard, and dead. Flowing water is life. You must become spacious inside so life can flow through you. This spaciousness allows you to take risks. And let us speak of risk, because the security program society installed in you is actually an insecurity program. You were taught saving is safe even when the system steals from you. They told you to put your money in the bank where it sleeps and loses value every year. They told you to trade your wild creativity for a steady paycheck that barely covers your needs. They call this security. It is not security. It is a slow death. Real security is your ability to create value. Real security is your adaptability. Real security is your courage. If you have courage, you can be dropped in the middle of a desert and you will create an oasis. If you have fear, you can be placed in a palace and you will create a prison. Risks that once froze you now feel manageable. Why? Because you realize that the greatest risk of all is not living. The greatest risk is reaching the end of your life with a full bank account and an empty heart. With a safe life that was never truly lived. Do not ask, what if I lose money? Ask, what if I lose my soul by playing small? Money can be made back, time cannot, soul cannot. If you are ready to stop playing small, if you are ready to take the risk of being your true self, signal your commitment to this community by joining us. The join button is a declaration that you are done with the slow death of false security. The old self, the one made of fear, scarcity, comparison, guilt, fights for survival. It tells you, don't invest in yourself, it's too expensive. Don't start that business, you might fail. Don't give to that cause, you need it for a rainy day. I say to you, the rainy day is created by your expectation of it. You are preparing for misery, so misery comes. Prepare for joy. Invest in your joy. When you spend money on your own growth, on a book, a seminar, a mentor, a health retreat, you are telling the universe, I am a valuable asset. I am worth investing in. And the universe agrees. Money doesn't lead you, it follows you. If you lead with self-worth, money follows. If you lead with self-neglect, poverty follows. It is a loyal servant. It does exactly what you tell it to do through your actions. Look at how you treat yourself. Do you buy the cheapest food for your body? Do you wear clothes that make you feel shabby? Do you deny yourself the small pleasures? And then you wonder why the world treats you cheaply. You set the price tag. You stamped discount item on your own forehead. Rip off that label. Stamp premium on your soul. Treat yourself like the temple of the divine that you are. Suffering does not make you pure. It only makes you small. Abundance makes you expansive. Begin today. Buy the better coffee. Not to show off, but to taste the quality. Wear the shirt that makes you feel powerful. Not for others, but for the feeling of the fabric on your skin. Raise your vibration. When your vibration rises, you become visible to a different level of opportunity. People are drawn to someone who is calm, grounded, steady. They are drawn to someone who radiates enoughness. When you walk into a room feeling, I have enough, I am enough, you are magnetic. You are not a vacuum cleaner trying to suck energy from others. You are a sun radiating energy to others, and everyone wants to be near the sun. This is the secret of the Midas touch. It was not magic. It was a metaphor for a consciousness so high that everything it touched turned to value. You have that touch, but you are wearing gloves of fear. Take off the gloves. Touch your life with naked hands. Touch your work with naked passion. Touch your money with naked gratitude. Awareness is like bringing a candle into a dark room. You don't fight the darkness. You simply see it. We have seen the mechanics of money. Now we must enter the alchemical chamber of the heart. We must talk about turning the lead of your deepest fears into the gold of pure creativity. This is spiritual alchemy. Nothing and no one can take this kind of wealth from you. It is the ability to face the void and create a world. Most people stop at the edge of their fear. They see the cliff and they turn back to the safety of the known. But the treasure is not in the known. The treasure is always in the unknown. The understanding that money responds to your inner world means that if your inner world is only safety, your money will only be survival. If you want abundance, your inner world must include adventure. Adventure means the possibility of failure. And here we must surgically remove the stigma of failure from your mind. You learn that failure is shame. Who taught you this? The school system. If you got the wrong answer, you got a red X. You were shamed. But in life, failure is not a red X. Failure is data. Failure is feedback. Failure is the chisel that shapes the sculpture. Every wealthy person, and I mean truly wealthy self-made souls, has failed more times than the poor person has even tried. The poor person is so afraid of failing once that they never try at all. They succeed at being safe, which is the ultimate failure of potential. The wealthy person fails 10 times, learns 10 lessons, and on the 11th time creates an empire. Reach equals danger. Curiosity equals punishment. This was the old script. The new script is reach equals growth, failure equals learning, persistence equals destiny. You must become willing to look foolish. The ego wants to look smart. The ego wants to look perfect. The ego keeps you broke. Because to learn something new, you must be a beginner. You must be clumsy. You must ask stupid questions. If you are too proud to be a beginner, you will never be a master. It taught you to stay humble, not expansive. But true humility is not hiding. True humility is the willingness to learn from everything, even from your mistakes. Now, let us look at the shadow that blocks your gold. The shadow is the part of you that you rejected, the part that wants to be big, the part that wants to be seen. You were told, don't show off. So you pushed your brilliance into the shadow. You were told, don't be greedy. So you pushed your desire into the shadow. But energy cannot be destroyed. That pushed down desire becomes twisted. It becomes envy. When you see someone else succeeding, do you feel inspired or do you feel a pinch of jealousy? That jealousy is your own potential talking to you. It is saying, that could be us. Why are you locking me in the basement? Do not judge your jealousy. The answers begin to rise from within you like small flames. Use the jealousy as a map. It shows you what you truly want. If you are jealous of a writer, it means you have a writer inside you. If you are jealous of a traveler, it means you have an explorer inside you. Liberate your shadow. Invite it to the table. Say, yes, I want to be wealthy. Yes, I want to create. Yes, I want to shine. When you own your desires, they stop controlling you from the dark. They become engines of creation. The world trained you to fear money the same way it trained you to fear your own power. They are linked. Money is a form of power. It is neutral power, like fire or electricity, but it is power. If you are afraid of your own power, you will repel money, because if you had money, you would have more power, and that terrifies you. What if I misuse it? What if I become bad? Trust yourself. When you trust yourself, opportunities open. You are not a bad person. You are a conscious being. If you have more power, you will do more good. Believe this, know this. This is the alchemy, taking the fear of I am bad and transmuting it into the knowing I am a vessel of good. When you know you are a vessel of good, you will want as much power, money, influence as possible so you can pour that good into the world. You become ambitious not for the ego, but for the mission. This is a different quality of ambition. It is sacred ambition. It is the ambition of the tree wanting to grow tall, not to look down on the grass, but to give more shade, to give more fruit, to touch the sun. Be ambitious like the tree. Imagine a lake so still and clear. In this clarity, you see that the barriers were never outside. The economy is not your barrier. The government is not your barrier. Your boss is not your barrier. You understand that the limitation was never in the world. It was in the pattern hidden inside you. And patterns can be broken. How? By doing the opposite of what the pattern dictates. If the pattern says withdraw, you lean in. If the pattern says hoard, you give. If the pattern says panic, you breathe. If the pattern says hide, you show up. Every time you act against the old pattern, you burn a new neural pathway. You are literally physically rewiring your brain from a poverty brain to a wealth brain. It is uncomfortable. It feels like walking backwards. It feels like writing with your non-dominant hand. Good. The nervous system learned early that fear is normal and calm is the unknown. Make the unknown known. Make the uncomfortable comfortable. This is the warrior's path. The warrior of wealth does not fight enemies on a battlefield. He fights the lethargy and fear in his own mind. And what is the weapon? Presence, silence. When panic rises, I can't afford this, it won't work. You stop. You do not argue with the thought. You simply watch it. There is the poverty program again, playing track number 4. Interesting. You do not dance to its tune, you let it play and you choose a different action. This is freedom. Seeing makes the unconscious conscious, and once something becomes conscious, it can no longer control you. If you are ready to master this inner warrior, to stop being a slave to your patterns, our ebooks provide the training manual for your mind. They are the tools for your alchemy. Find them in the description and equip yourself for the journey. They react to fear. Their decisions are not made from clarity. They are made from contraction. Contraction is the death of wealth. Expansion is the birth of wealth. In every moment, you have a choice. Contract or expand. When you receive a bill, contract, worry, or expand, gratitude for the service. When you see a price tag, contract, too expensive, or expand, inspiration to earn more. When you see a problem, contract, complaint, or expand, create a solution. Wealth is simply the accumulation of thousands of expand choices. Poverty is the accumulation of thousands of contract choices. It is not one big event, it is the micro habit of the mind. Start choosing expansion today, even in small things. Expand your breath, expand your posture, expand your patience, expand your generosity. The moment your inner weather changes, the outer world reorganizes around it. It has to. It is the law. Now that this truth has landed, now that you understand wealth not as something you earn, but as something you embody, we stand at the end of this journey. But as I said, endings in the world of consciousness are openings. We have peeled the onion, we removed the layers of society's lies, childhood wounds, the addiction to struggle, the fear of power, and the stagnation of hoarding. We have reached the core, and what is at the core? You, just you, naked, radiant, infinite you. You were not born to be broke. You were not born to be small. These were costumes put upon you, and now you have taken them off. The final liberation is this. You do not need money to be wealthy, but because you are wealthy, money will come. This sounds like a riddle, but it is the master key. Real wealth begins inside you. Imagine an emperor who gets amnesia. He wanders the streets begging for food, sleeping in the mud, fearing the winter. He has forgotten who he is. He thinks he is a beggar. If you give him a gold coin, he is happy for a moment, but he is still a beggar in his mind. He fears losing the coin. But then one day he remembers. He remembers the palace. He remembers the power. He remembers his lineage. Does he need a coin now? No. He owns the kingdom. Even if he is still wearing rags, his walk changes. His voice changes. His eyes change. He no longer begs. He commands. And because he commands, the world obeys. You are that emperor. You are that empress. You got amnesia. Society gave you the amnesia drug called education and job and debt, and you forgot that you are a child of existence. You forgot that this whole planet is your playground, not your prison. One day someone gently lifts his chin. He sees the sky for the first time. That moment changes him forever. I am lifting your chin today. Look up, look away from the dust of your bank account. Look at the sky of your potential. It was to prepare you for freedom, and that freedom is the true teaching. When you are free, you play with money. You do not work for it. You play with it. It becomes a game, a beautiful, creative game. Let's see what I can create today. Let's see how much love I can circulate today. The seriousness is gone. The heaviness is gone. Real wealth is inner freedom, inner stability, inner spaciousness, inner trust. When you play, you win. When you struggle, you lose. This is the cosmic joke. The harder you try, the less you have. The more you play, the more you have. It is simply the way life moves when you stop resisting it. A flower does not work hard to bloom. It allows the life force to push through it. You have a unique flower inside you, a unique talent, a unique voice, a unique way of seeing the world. Your wealth is hidden in that uniqueness. Do not try to be like someone else. Do not try to follow the formula of the neighbor. Learn who you are. Learn how to create value. Your value is in your difference. If you try to be a copy, you will be paid like a copy, cheaply. If you dare to be an original, you will be paid like an original, pricelessly. Authenticity is the highest currency in the world. And now a warning. As you step into this new frequency, people will try to pull you back. The crabs in the bucket, they will say, "You are dreaming. Be realistic. Come back down to earth. Do not listen." Realistic is just a word for socially accepted limitation. Reality is infinite. Reality is abundant. Realistic is a fence. Jump over the fence. Love them, but do not join them. This is what awakening feels like. It only needs to happen once, and after that you cannot be the same. You cannot fit back into the small box. You have outgrown the pot. You are ready to be planted in the wild earth. Do not fear truth. Fear only the sleep that keeps you from truth. My friends, the program is deleted. The code is rewritten. The new code is I am safe. I am worthy. I am flow. I am wealth. Say it with me, feel it in your chest. I am safe, I am worthy, I am flow, I am wealth. You send a signal to your entire being, and the universe answers, yes, you are. Go now. Do not just watch this video and return to the old sleep. Do not let this be just content you consumed. Let it be the catalyst. Take one action today that scares you. Make one investment today in your growth. Give one gift today with an open heart. Prove to your nervous system that you are free. If this message has unlocked the door of your cage, walk through it. Subscribe to this channel to keep the door open. Share this video with the other birds who think they cannot fly. Join our community to fly in a flock of eagles, not chickens. Support the mission with a super thanks, not for me, but for the energy of gratitude flowing through you. Check the description for the maps, ebooks that will guide you in the territory of freedom. The program that kept you poor was never stronger than the awareness waking up inside you. You are awake, you are abundant, you are free. Go and live it.